Well, hello, and welcome everybody to the Nursing in Style Podcast, where today we're going to talk about going from employee to healthcare consultant, betting on yourself and building what you were called to create. During this podcast, we're going to meet my dear friend, Pamela McIntyre, who has been a huge inspiration in my life. She comes to us with a large amount of experience. She has more than 4 decades of comprehensive nursing experience. Pamela McIntyre is considered a subject matter expert in infusion nursing and transformational leader of infusion programs. Her trademark method of engagement between colleagues has advanced patient care standards and streamlined the specialty of infusion therapy for interdisciplinary teams. Experienced in hospital, clinical, and home infusion sites of care, she provides consulting services to healthcare organizations for infusion program development, staff mentoring, and offers legal review services through her LLC, Expert Infusion Nurse Consulting. With the goals of advancing excellence in infusion, Pamela holds a master's degree in nursing administration and leadership, maintains her CRNI, her IGCN, her OCN, and her VABC certifications, and embraces the mindset of a lifelong learner. Contact Pamela at www.expertinfusionnurse.com. Pam, I am so thrilled that you are here. I mean, you got
Thank
tons
you.
of titles, my dear, tons of titles and lots of going on. But what I love the absolute most about you is that you can back all of this up. That's what I admire about you. I have watched you build amazing teams. I have watched you help many organizations to take it to the next level. You that girl, right? And so I'm so thrilled that you're here. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right on into this thing and find out before you became a healthcare consultant. For those that don't know you, and business owner, what did your career look like as an employee, as a nurse?
I drove everything from inside the operation. I have managed, first staffed, worked, and managed oncology and specialty infusion centers. I've been responsible for revenue cycle and front end operations for home infusion, both hospital owned and private owner. I have been responsible for program development for AICs, oncology infusion, home health, multi-state home health, and accreditation for all those entities. So I kind of have had my toe in both canoes at the same time, which, to kind of go to without going into too much detail, I do everything that I used to do on a daily basis now. And I do draw on all of my experience every single day.
I love it. How long were you an employee before you started questioning whether or not the pad was enough for you? How long? How many years in nursing have you spent before you decided to transition into owning your own business?
I'm a boomer. And boomers are lifers. So, you see the parodies on LinkedIn for boomers, sitting back on Friday at 4 o'clock with the beers, saying, "Oh, I made it again." So that's kind of how they typecast us. And I was probably stereotypical boomer, because I'm one of those people that has a pension,
Mhm.
which is unheard of in these days. But I was a faithful long-term employee of a multi-state home infusion and AIC organization that was acquired by private equity and was affected by a mass layoff.
Mhm.
And I was stunned because you think after 4 decades, and it was 4 decades when that happened to me,
Mhm.
you think it will never happen to you. It happens to people around you, but of course it will
Mhm.
never happen to me. I'm
Mhm.
so important, so integral. So that stunned feeling lasted about 6 weeks until my husband, who is in tech, said, "You've never been laid off, have you?" I said, "No, honey, I have not." Think back, never had a layoff. Well, I had to start thinking about what I was going to do next. What did that
Mhm.
feel like? And I never wanted to feel that feeling again. So I pivoted. And what I took from my layoff was it's not that you're going from a secure situation to an insecure situation.
Mm-hmm.
subject to budget and whether or not you're going to be a line item. That's not security. The only thing I can control is my workflow now. And I do.
Yes.
And
I love that you pointed out boomer moment, right? So in the boomer era, you were taught
yes.
get a good job, stay on that job until you retire. Like you commit all into a company and a company is going to have your back. And boomers
Mhm.
are finding out the hard way now as the industry changes. It's not always the case. You can be one heck of an amazing nurse or amazing tech or whatever it is that you do in healthcare, and your job can very well be gone. Has nothing to necessarily do with you. As we talked about budgets, spreadsheets, strategy, and
Yeah.
sometimes you're not a part of the strategy and it's out of your control. And so when I hear people say, I have a job, I don't want to start a business, I have a job that's stable. Is it? Not necessarily, right? But
Yeah.
you have to be willing each and every day to show up, whether you are showing up for somebody's job, whether you're showing up for your own business. You still have to show up. You got to show up and be sharp. You have to show up and give your absolute best. So to me,
Mhm.
you have to keep defining. So I'm so proud of you as a boomer that got over the initial shock, like, wow, this just happened to me.
Yeah.
And decided I'm going to pull up my bootstraps and I'm going to bet on me.
There's a lot of us out there in this situation, and I know there's people listening right now that are probably in my age group. Stop thinking about our age as a liability and leverage what you've got,
Mhm.
because we can't anymore think, oh, they're hiring all the younger people. Those leaders in those companies need what's in your head, and they may not need it for long. But I've got about 10 years before I retire.
Mhm.
And the only way I can impart what I know wide scale is to give it to a lot of people. I'm not going to do that working in a single entity. The only way I can do that
Mhm.
is to
Mhm.
hopscotch from organization to organization. And I'm just having a blast doing it.
I
I've
love
met so many neat people.
I love it. I often say, hey, you've been nursing for 10 or more years. Get out of the way. Start
Mhm,
giving that knowledge. Start raising the next leader. Start
mhm.
seeing how you can maximize to give it all. And I love it. I love it for you. And I love what you're doing for others. So let's talk a little about, did you have any frustrations when did you ever feel limited on any job that you were on as a nurse? Did you ever have that moment where you just felt boxed in
As an employee or as a
as an
consultant?
employee, speaking as an employee?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I think sometimes you have this, anybody that's been around for any length of time, you get these nuggets of inspiration. You're thinking, I can solve a problem with this. I know how this works. I know how to fix it. And somebody else pulls back and says, oh, no, 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 we're not going to do that. That's not our strategy. Well, somebody wants that strategy from you. It may not
Uh-huh.
be where you are currently, but somebody can use your inspiration. So that kind of was my situation
Mhm.
several times in my life where I'm gonna date myself, but I was one of those people. I pushed so hard to get a fax machine in the clinic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we don't need a fax machine. They'll bring the scripts over. We're talking way back the C2s in the oncology world.
Yes.
What do we need that for? What if it doesn't work? 6 months later, there were 4 in the clinic. So, I, that inspiration. I mean, that's an
Yes.
old example, but that nugget of drive that you think can solve a problem,
Mhm.
um, it may not be accepted where you are, but you might be able to convince someone else that it's just inspirational and smart enough to help solve a problem that they're working through.
That's right. Sometimes those companies may not be ready for those shifts. Like right now, we're shifting with AI, and healthcare has to wake up that we're going head deep into AI. And so
Get
you're
on the
going to have
bus.
to get ready. Yep, get on board. Start learning the basics right now so that you can keep up with what's happening. Just like you talk about the fax machine and think in the clinic, like we don't need that. And it's so funny today because so many practices in healthcare, you still have to fax over documents. So I mean, we got
Mhm.
e-fax, but you still have to have the ability to fax in healthcare today. So that was really
Mhm.
funny. So let's now start shifting our brain a little bit, and let's start talking about when you make the decision, like, as you have to start your own business. Starting your own company is not easy. What fears came up when you first considered, oh my goodness, I'm going to bet on myself and jump out here?
Um, where is the business going to come from?
Ah,
But I think I get it from my mother, where she would just jump headlong into a project. Like, in the 70s, she was making yogurt when nobody else did. She had a giant 2-acre garden. I mean, anything she did, she just went. And my mother. You knew my
I
mother.
do.
Um,
I do.
I I channel that, and then my dad's determination, his nonstop, steadfast pushing towards whatever his goal was. I mean,
Mhm,
that has been an unbeatable combination. And just because I watched it from a very young age
mhm.
doesn't mean that anybody listening to this can't do that. You have to think big. If something looks like it's going to be fun or a good idea, focus. Keep looking at that end goal. She didn't look at pulling the weeds in the garden. She looked at
Mhm.
the money that we were going to get from selling sweet corn for the whole summer and what was she going to do with all that cash. And my
She was
dad
looking
was
at
the
the
one that
prize.
plowed the field and sowed the corn. So you've got to
Yeah.
be able to harness both sides of that and make what you want to do happen. So
Yeah.
I woke up literally the last day of my employment and had the concept of my business in my head. I literally woke up with this. So that's my mother talking here. And
Uh-huh.
then my dad got to work, and in 3 days, grandma had built a website, filed for my LLC, had all these intro, letters going out, and a plan for how we were going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Um, Depending on what I'm doing, I draw on one side of that experience or the other.
So you woke up with this moment, right? The whole business just started unfolding. Most people would have woke up saying, "Now I'm going to go out here and apply for another job." But you didn't do that. So what shifted in the brain that made you not go look for another full-time job?
The job boards. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't think about looking for another job, because I did.
Uh-huh.
And we all know there's a lot of jobs out there,
Yes.
but which one is a fit for you? And the only way I could find a job that would work for me would be to create my own.
Ooh. I love that. Created your own space to
Mhm.
do things at the top of your talent level. I mean, 20 plus years of nursing, that's a long time, and building so many things. I mean, you kind of know what it is that you want to do. Everything else becomes boring. And when you're one of these people, when I think about the spirit of your mom, she's got to be challenged. If you're not
Mhm.
challenged, it just doesn't work. So that was that was eye-opening moment for me when you said, "I'm doing it. I'm starting my business."
Yeah. Well,
So proud.
about 2 months ago, I started to feel stagnant.
Mm.
And I got a call from a little hospital up in Wisconsin looking to expand their oncology program.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I got real excited. I started churning with ideas and the policies and things that I was putting together in the weekly meetings. It was just a joy. I
Yeah.
felt like I was on fire again. And then I thought, I need to just keep that momentum. I need
Yes.
to keep the interest. And if I have a downtime, what
Hmm.
I'm using that for now is expanding my business. What can I
Hmm.
do that I don't always provide? Or what can
Hmm.
I provide more often and do more of that,
Yes.
to round it out? And again, spread what I've got for the next decade.
Yes. So, as business owners, we have to, as entrepreneurs, we have to remember that we have to also have strategy meetings. have to continue to set goals each quarter. We have to
Mhm.
continue to figure out how do we continue to level up, how to sharpen our tools, which you're doing that. Because if you don't have something to look forward to, you're going to hit that moment like, the stagnation moment, right? And so we just have to sometimes go back to what we knew as executive nurses, what we now have to do in our business to stay alive, because the gifts and talents that you have, Pam, is so amazing and helps so many companies to really leaps and bounds to the next level. And so they need you. Especially new companies out here that's wanting to start a home infusion company, wanting to start an oncology program. I mean, some of these companies hire people because they say RN behind your name. It does not mean that that nurse have the true experience that you need to put together a successful program. And so you have that value, that heavy, heavy sense of value. So let's go in a little bit about mindset shift from employee brain to owner brain.
Mhm.
So, what beliefs about money and leadership and risk did you have to unlearn?
Well, frankly, I channeled you when I was thinking about how do I grow and, what am I inspired by? And just pushing to what I think I can't achieve and the why not. And I'm going to go back to that breakfast you and I had together in Denver about a decade ago, where whether or not we knew it was a strategy session between the both of us, where we would decided that we would both get our masters and
Hmm.
certifications. And you inspired me because I was very comfortable where I was. Great job, wonderful company, fantastic leadership, everything I needed. I was fulfilled. I was inspired. I had every ounce of my cup was filled. Um, but then I had to realize, and it was painful, that it wouldn't always be that way.
Yeah.
And it scared me a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but it's what I needed. And there are so many things, and I'm not big on quotes, but if I think I'll paraphrase Steve Jobs, where they say, you can't, looking forward, you can't connect the dots, but you sure can looking backwards.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we choose our dots. What do we do that was effective? And what helped us? And why was it important to our development and our success? And those are the dots that I bring with me.
Mm.
And to some extent, if you think about it, it's like a wake. If you're water skiing, that draws you one direction or another. But what is your wake? What are you leaving behind you? What's carried along with you because of what you've done or the ripples that you've made? Because I'm only a ripple. But
Mm.
if I can inspire or help someone else to get to the next level, that's where the wake is created.
I love it. I love it. I was just having a conversation with my cousin Valencia,
Yeah.
and we were talking about when you don't go after the things that are put inside of you, what happens to the people that's behind you that wait? They don't get that opportunity because you didn't do your part, because you weren't willing to go out there and bet on you. You weren't willing to carry out that dream, that next level. There's so many nurses that I can tell you right now, Pam, that are inspired by you because as a boomer, you did a big shift and you decided, I'm gonna start my business. I'm going to do this. I'm just thinking about your mom and it makes me smile. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done, right? I don't have all the answers just yet, but I'm going to get this done. I'm going to put out some things out there and see who bites. Somebody bites,
Mhm.
great. Let me just start here. And that's what I often tell people. Just start right there with that one, right? Don't try to figure out how you're going to pull up. Let's think about farming. I'm not thinking about all the harvest that I'm going to have to pull up when the harvest time comes. Let's just focus on planting the seeds right now, and the moment we get our first harvest, let's pull what we have right there at a time, right? One at a time. Let's just do that so that you don't get
Mhm.
overwhelmed. There's a lot of people that when they think about their business, they start thinking about the level of success before it ever happens, and they get overwhelmed and they forget this. You got to plant seeds in order to get to the harvest. You got to do
Mhm.
your due diligence portion first before you're going to get to the harvest. So be patient with yourself as you're starting these businesses and starting to do this. So I'll always remember our moment in Colorado. I'll always remember that time that we started talking about putting ourselves in position for any pivots that need to come along the way. And so I thank you too, my friend, because watching you finish your master's in, was it 7 months or 6 months?
It
How
was
long?
during COVID. It was a 7.5
Come on,
months.
get
It was
credit for
during
it now.
COVID. So I had
Yeah.
4 extra hours a day.
Yeah, you crack me up with that. You're like, oh, it was just a few months. I'm like, most people don't finish an MBA, I mean, a master's in that short period of time. And you did it. And once you did that and you shared that with me, I got on fire. I was like, I got to do this. And then
And
you
then you did
became
it.
my accountability partner. Yes. So I did it in 11 months, but you became my accountability partner. You would check in. How you doing? You coming along? You need any assistance? You have any questions about anything? Anything I can help you with? And so I believe that people in life need to have that sense of accountability partner, that someone else is going to just help you to continue to press forward in your dreams, in your life, in your business. I think it's pivotal. It's monumental to me to have that level of support going forward. So thank you for being that for me. Thank you for being that to so many others. We do have a couple of people that are watching live right now that say that they're excited to be here. And so I'm just thrilled for the wake that you're causing.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. How did you identify your niche? I mean, I kind of know, but other nurses who are not infusion nurses, because infusion nurses think everybody knows about infusion nursing. But how did you define your niche for your business, your lane for your healthcare consultant business?
I think it came easier for me than it will some
Mhm.
because um, I had experience in both avenues, and my experience in the home was not only in the pharmacy, but it was also as a nurse in the field. But when you're in the pharmacy, you have unique insight into what's missing or what the gaps are. And if you are that nurse and you have a way to solve that, you need to be doing that. There's no way one person consultant loan here can help every single pharmacy in the country. Get out there and solve those problems because the volume's going to increase. The pace of approval of new therapies and new therapy classes and the expansion of oncology is not going away. My age group is about to bankrupt the healthcare industry if we go to the hospital for everything. We have to save money. And that means treating people either in independent AICs or in the home. The only way to do that is to do it safely because we're only going to get one shot at this. If we don't take care of people well, the payers are going to pivot and say, oh, we can't do that. We have to do it right. And if you're a nurse or healthcare administrator, leader in healthcare at all, and you think you can solve this problem, let's talk. I'd love to tell you what I've run into, what I've seen, and my DMs are open for a reason. I don't need tech. I don't need health insurance. I don't need help with my taxes. Okay, I'm going to say that right now because that's about 10 a day. But if you have a problem that you're trying to solve and you want help or you just want to bounce something off me, hit me up. I think that as time goes on, it's going to be revealed to us how big this problem is. We have no idea the scope yet. But younger and younger people are getting colon cancer. These are therapies that are going to need to be treated in the home eventually. The pace of sub-Q oncology drugs being formulated it's galloping. It was that oncology drugs were approved, I believe it was more than any other class last year for new specialty products. How are we going to take care of these people? Clinics are already backed up. How can we take care of these people in the home? How can your independent AIC do it?
Ooh, you just put a big charge out there. I hope these business owners are paying attention. You just put a big charge out there. When you think about the oncology realm, I know that those oncology centers are pretty much busting at some seams for a lot of those locations. But these patients have to be treated and they have to be treated timely. And I know that payers will be looking for ways to treat them in a cost saving type manner. And so that a lot of times that is away from the major hospital facilities when they are able to have programs and have safety and being able to implement that. So ambulatory infusion centers, you have opportunities here. Home infusion companies, you have opportunities here to grow your business, but you want to grow it in a safe manner. So you want to get the professional support that you need to put good programs in place so that you can produce success. And so that's what expert infusion nurse consulting does. So, Pam, as we shift through growth, confidence, and identity, how did becoming a business owner change how you see yourself professionally?
I had to step outside my comfort zone. I still
Mm,
don't know if I see myself as that person. Um, I have the deep underlying fear that I have to bribe people with chocolate to come to my booth at conferences. You don't have, I don't think if you've lived, and I tend to be probably more one of the reticent people in the
uh
world.
huh. Uh huh.
I'm not an out there person. So if I'm, um, if I'm doing something, it's because I have a very strong conviction. And
Hmm.
that mindset had to change stunningly, um, because my whole your whole mindset is based on your paycheck every 2 weeks and
Hmm.
security. You have to start thinking, how can I do this? Not why would I do it or why won't it happen? How can I make this happen and take the step? Um, I come from a long line of bold women.
Hmm.
My grandmother on my dad's side took the train alone from the Manitoba border, way northern North Dakota, to Michigan in the early 1900s alone and moved. Um, my mother
Hmm.
um, took the train from rural Pennsylvania in the early 40s, and it was a different world then. You know, not everybody had a car. It was very rural. We're talking coal mining town. She went to
Yeah.
Washington D.C. to go to beauty school.
Wow.
So I had on my dad's side this profound encouragement. You can, of course, you can do it. Why couldn't you do it? You know,
Hmm.
no child in my family, boys or girls, was ever dissuaded from doing something big. And
Hmm.
then I've got my mom's side of the family who, by example, did it. Um, I really didn't have an excuse.
Hmm.
And how, if you see people before you being bold with everything that they had to overcome to get where they were, and if you think about the greatest generation, you know,
Hmm.
the mid 1900s, what they had to overcome to become successful, what's my excuse?
Ooh, that's a
I
big
didn't
one.
have three families to feed. I only had one family to feed, where my
Yeah.
grandfather fed the whole block with his garden during the Depression. What is my excuse?
You have a perspective and an aspect that so many others won't have. You were blessed to have family that really just pushed you hard, that didn't put limits on you. And I don't want to downplay that because there are some people that don't have someone in their corner saying, hey, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You can do it if you're willing to do the hard work. You know, everybody don't have that. So let's talk to directly to the nurses. What would you say to a nurse who feels called to entrepreneurship but is afraid to leave employment?
I'm not going to lie. Would I be here if I hadn't been laid off? Possibly not.
Mhm.
Um, So I'm not going to lie about that. But what I can tell you, it doesn't matter how I ended up here.
Mhm.
What matters is the outcome. And when you start an endeavor like this, there is no um, there's no difference in when you start it. Everybody has to go through the same steps. You have to wake up every day with the intent, am I going to swim or am I going to tread water? Because, I mean, think about it. If you're a nurse, you're not going to sink. You can always
True.
go pick up something here or there.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to be where you are today. But what if I swim?
Yes. Yes, Pam. I love it. So, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your company?
I'm on LinkedIn. Um, that's the easiest way to find me. You can also go to my website and send a message. If you're not on LinkedIn, there is a place to put your email in on my website, and I'll get back to you. For people that are looking for help to start their company or just want to pick my brain, I do have hour sessions where I will talk to people if they're interested in truly helping other people. Um, my calendar is open. I do I do have to limit the amount of time I give for that only because I have people that are counting on me to perform what they need, and they need their job done. So that is my
Mhm.
primary focus. But in between, um, I love to intersect with people that are looking to help other people. And these pharmacies need help. These AICs, they need help. A lot of
Mhm.
times, I think when they're going a um, into a project, they don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
They don't know the things they're going to step in. They don't know where the holes are under the turf. Um, and it's so important regionally that they can look up and find you on a LinkedIn search. How easy are you to be found? Do people even
Good
know
point.
you're out there?
Yes. Yes. Oh, there's a question in the chat, and she says, "Being an introvert is my challenge in trying to break through." And so I'll give you a response to that, and I'll let Pam chime in. Remember, Pam talked about being a value add, right? As we think about
Mhm.
oncology drugs coming into the home, she's thinking about the knowledge that she has. She's thinking about her generation that's going to overwhelm the system, as she said, right? And so when we think about when you know you have a gift as a nurse, when you know you have this talent, this information that can truly help someone else, would you allow someone to drown? As nurses, we would never do that. And so when
Mhm.
we really think about our value that we bring to the system, that should help you to come up, speak up, and put yourself out there so that you can support another company, so you can support helping someone to get across the line. And so many people that I know, one sitting beside me in my home right now, she's a true introvert. And when she came out on LinkedIn, I was shocked. I was like, what? But she knows her value. She knows what she brings to the market. She knows how to sharpen other coaches and help bring out the best in people. So imagine if she would just sit on that gift because she says, I'm an introvert. I don't want to show my face. I don't want to talk to other people. So many people, growth will be stifled. So many people wouldn't have a business today had she not betted on herself, had she not come out of her own shell. So I would say, know that you bring value, know that you make a difference. That's what's more important. And as my dad was saying, one of my mottos, don't die not giving out all that you can give. Live your best life now. Life is meant to be lived. So go out there and take a chance, right? Go out there and swim, as Pam said. Anything you want to add to that, Pam?
Okay, I'm speaking to the introverts here.
Yes.
Proud introvert empath here. And I have been criticized in the past by managers as saying, I'm too emotional. I feel too much, that doesn't affect you. I'm going to argue that point that if you're an introvert, there's a good chance you're an empath. So you may not be introverted as much as you are sensing things, because we tend to sit back and observe. How do you learn? How do you learn what makes people tick and what makes them struggle? I probably can't help you tick. It's not my job to inspire you. My job, my career now is focused on helping people with struggles. And I know that path so well, because a lot of times when I'm talking to someone, I can tell when they're struggling with something. It's my superpower. I think everybody has one. Danielle, yours is motivating people and making people delighted in your presence, and rah rah, let's go, we can do this, and then they do. I mean, thank you. But for us introverts, don't be ashamed of that, because introversion can help you understand people. It can help you with that intuitive posturing. How do I help someone who may themselves be an introvert? These people speak to each other, and sometimes it's not always verbal. It's very intuitive, and I'm not a mystic. If someone's struggling, and I can help them, we see eye to eye, and it's a flow of information in both ways, because and I tell this to all my customers, what I learn on your project is going to help somebody else going down the road. And every presentation I give, I ask people, if you have a question, please ask it, because if you've got a question, someone else has the same question. And you've heard me say this, Danielle.
Yes, I have.
They're probably afraid to ask it. So to the chat, this is your chance. There are people out there that have the same question, but maybe just aren't at the stage confidence-wise to be able to put that out there.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to NursingInStyle Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're looking to expand your ambulatory infusion center, or to get some consultant help with your home infusion business, or looking to start your oncology program in the home, contact Expert Infusion Nurse Consulting. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.